Okay, so I'm up here at the Northwest Agricultural Research Station, and we've been talking a little bit these last few weeks about the haze that's kind of come across a lot of Ohio's fields from the smoke from the wildfires in Canada blowing down. Some of the things that we think about with regards to the smoke and the haze and general cloudiness is the reduced amount of light energy. When you lower the amount of energy that comes in, potentially you're limiting your system because you don't have as much light available for photosynthesis. But there could be some things that could help offset yield loss from reduced light intensity. And it could be because we have more diffuse light from a lot of that smoke. When the diffuse light comes in, it means you don't have as much direct light hitting the leaf surfaces, which means that the top of the leaves don't heat up as much. Leaf temperature, surface temperature is directly related to the amount of direct sunlight that's hitting that. And that's what we typically get on a clear, full sun type of day. And so the diffuse light means you have a little bit less hitting the top, but it tends to scatter it so that more comes in through the sides of the canopy and could help increase photosynthesis, particularly in some of those lower leaves. The other thing, like I said, is it doesn't raise the temperature of those leaves quite as high, which reduces the transpirative demand. So when we have conditions like water stress conditions, it can actually help to alleviate some of that as compared to if the plants were experiencing direct sunlight. But if we have sustained cloudiness or sustained haze throughout the season, that could be a concern. When we look at how much light we've accumulated through the month of July here throughout the state of Ohio, we're fairly close to the 10-year average, though the latter part of the month did start to tail off because of some of that haze.
So another thing that we have to consider when we think about how the smoke and haze has been affecting our crop growth and development, in some ways is the relation between available light energy and growing degree unit accumulation. When I talk about accumulation of radiation over the season, oftentimes when we're doing that, we're measuring it using something like this. This is like a sunshine sensor that has a lot of different light absorbers inside of it. And this basically tells us how many photons are available based on the light that's out in the atmosphere at that point in time. And so by collecting data from this over a period of a day and then adding days totals to other day totals, we can get an accumulation of light energy throughout the season. When we think about how that relates to growth or heat units, we can take the amount of photons that are experienced by the crop and divide it by the number of GDDs accumulated in that day to get what we call a photothermal quotient. A higher photothermal quotient means you can typically absorb more light per heat unit, which could relate to greater yield at the end of the season.
It's something we're going to keep our eye on throughout the season, and hopefully we'll have a better view of what's going on towards the end. And I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you today on this topic.